through Thursday, including nearly all of the 177 arrests within the hearing room. The majority of those arrested were charged with disorderly conduct, paid a $35 fine, and were released. Sarsauer said the arrest during the hearing showed the level of dissent over Trump's nomination of Kavanaugh, a conservative judge, for a lifetime Supreme Court seat. The activists were trained in nonviolent civil disobedience and got legal support. Sarsauer said, "We are not engaging in some sort of charade. We believe this is a matter of life and death." Women's March organized the protest with the Center for Popular Democracy and We Demand Justice, a group formed to oppose Trump's judicial nominations. At the Kavanaugh sessions, the disruptions began several minutes after Republican Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley gavelled the hearing open on Tuesday. Each day, members of the public arrived by 7 a.m. to queue up for hearing tickets. Then they waited in line for 20 to 30 minutes within the hearing room. One after another, activists stood to protest Kavanaugh's positions on health care, abortion, gun rights, or the proceedings themselves, interrupting lines of questioning and irritating some Republican committee members. Kavanaugh testified this week that Roe v. Wade is Supreme Court precedent, but declined to say whether he believed the case was correctly decided. On Wednesday, Carla Bedard and two others dressed in the red cloaks and white bonnets worn by persecuted women in the television show The Handmaid's Tale removed their costumes to go into the hearing room. Bedard stood up and raised her hands where she had written, "We dissent." She was one of 73 arrested that day.
Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com.
This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A job applicant totally nails an interview with the person who will make his life a living hell for the next 5 years. And adjusting several sliders on a recording studio's mixing console pays off big time. This is the Onion Week in Review. This week, a study published by researchers at Johns Hopkins University revealed a direct correlation between breastfeeding and knowing exactly what's best for other people at all times. Overwhelming evidence indicated that the moment mothers begin breastfeeding, they develop a highly honed sense of what is wrong with others' approach to life, and were able to loudly enumerate those faults with total confidence in their accuracy. Researchers noted that the practice greatly boosted a young mother's immunity to the viewpoints of others. And in this week's Tech Report, a startup is very casual about its dress code and benefits. In other news, the Secretary of Interior says knocking down the Rocky Mountains could really open up the nation. And a woman is not going to let her husband of 60 years drag her into death at the same time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. We call it Free Talk Live because you are free to call in and talk live here on this Sunday edition of Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
And it's Darryl.
It's an open phone line show, and you're free to call in about and talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. But Darryl, apparently Barack Obama has fired a salvo over the bow of the Trump battleship.
I didn't know there was a battleship, but headlines
it's
from...
probably sinking. Go ahead.
Okay, again, I didn't know there was a battleship. I'm guessing you're using some kind of metaphor that I wasn't used to and that is not mentioned anywhere in this article at all from the Washington Times about some speechification that Barack Obama did on Friday, where it says former President Barack Obama lamented the state of politics, calling out his successor, Donald Trump, by name as he started his push to ramp up Democratic energy for the midterm elections. Obama made his return to the political arena by giving a speech at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign after receiving the Paul H. Douglas Award for Ethics in Government.
This was the heretofore most secretive administration in American history. I would be happy to give them an award for ethics if I knew what the hell went on.
I'm surprised that, one, there's an award for ethics in government,
right?
And two, that they're able to find anyone ethical in government to give the award to.
Speed and Slowness Award.
He praised America's accomplishments, but said there's a darker side to progress when politicians peddle resentment and mistrust to preserve the status quo. Obama said, quote, "It did not start with Donald Trump. He is a symptom. He is not the cause. He's just capitalizing on resentments that politicians have been fanning for years.
So is this the a recap of Hillary Clinton's basket of deplorables comment that was made some months ago during the campaign, when she basically said the people that are voting for Donald Trump and the people who are pushing the Donald Trump thing are a bunch of deplorable people, basically? Is that what's being said?
I don't know.
It sounds like it. I mean, well, I think that there's this divide in America. Right? What was it? I think it was Al Gore that spoke of the two Americas, and I really do believe that there are at this point at least two Americas, and I
there's
feel
probably
like
5 or 6, but
fine,
at least 2.
That there's not much communication going on in between, and Obama is feeding into this.
And I don't know if it's that there's not much communication or if it's intentional miscommunication.
Well, that's miscommunication is bad communication, therefore not communication.
Right. But no. So one can unintentionally miscommunicate.
Yes.
But sometimes there's intentional miscommunication.
Which is manipulation.
I'm going to wind up interpreting everything you say to mean just, like something that you didn't say, and then I will turn that around and say, oh, you don't like chicken on your pizza? Why do you hate chicken? Why do you hate pizza? Why is pizza so horrible? Well, no, that's not what I said. Well, you said this word, and you said this word, and you said don't, so therefore, blah, blah, blah. So there's this weird false binary, and I talk about it a lot, where people think that if I don't drink Coke, I drink Pepsi. Well, no, there's a lot of other beverages that one could consume that's not Coke or Pepsi. If I don't vote for the Democrat, it doesn't mean automatically that I'm voting for the Republican. There are a lot of other options.
Agreed. I'm what I feel
and
like.
And that is intentional miscommunication,
and
to where people are
intentionally
misconstruing things that are said and things that they hear.
Well, I don't know if that's what's going on here with Obama, but I think that there is at the very least, a misunderstanding between two sides, because both sides basically, if you're communicating with somebody and you believe that the other side is an idiot or evil or stupid, whatever the negative pejorative thing is that you're saying,
right,
you're unlikely to ever communicate anything to them successfully. And America, whether we like it or not, is this place where, people must be brought together in coalitions. If Obama didn't learn after 8 years that he couldn't, that he needed to bring people together in a coalition, then he's never going to learn it. And I'm not exactly delighted that he's going to go out and begin just creating more of this partisan nonsense that's been going on. I will admit this, however, I am not the one to bring them together either, because I'm an ideologue and I believe things should be done a certain way.
So you've talked about what you think Obama said. The words that he actually said, Donald Trump, he is a symptom, not the cause.
Sure.
Do you agree with that statement, or are you just going to talk about how it makes you feel?
Okay, the symptom or the cause? Or the cause? Yes.
Do you think that Donald Trump is the cause of the rise of the alt-right, or is he just a symptom of the rise of the alt-right?
Obama didn't mention the alt-right. You're just throwing that in there. I think that Trump is a symptom, as is Obama. Obama getting back on the trail here is a symptom.
Oh, I'm not saying that Obama's not a symptom of something.
This is a symptom of a great divide in America, and I don't think Obama bothered to mention that. And Obama's not going to heal that divide.
Right.
And neither is Trump. They capitalize on it. These people capitalize on your division with your neighbors.
And I'm glad you mentioned capitalize, because that's a word that Obama used. Says he, referring to Trump, is just capitalizing on resentment that politicians have been fanning for years. Oh, you mean like during your entire presidency that immediately preceded the election of Donald Trump?
Yeah, I would say that to some extent. Well, so one thing I can think absolutely stands out to me in fanning resentments. It's that Barack Obama never released a sort of a real birth certificate. There was this certificate of live birth or whatever thing, but it doesn't look like mine. And one of the
I only have a certified copy because I lost my original at some point among one of my many moves that happened in my life. So I could not present some original that would satisfy anybody.
Sure. And that would be really great if you told a story about what happened to it. And I would go ahead and go for that. But when I feel like there was a fanning of resentment was choosing, like, on one hand, he issues a piece of paper that sort of halfway shows he's an American. And I'm not saying he's not. I'm totally not saying that Barack Obama is not an American.
You're also not saying that you think he is either.
I don't really. I know what he is. He's an a-hole. If he has a birth certificate that looks like mine, which is this kind of smudgy thing with a certificate smash
I
in
don't care if anybody has a birth certificate.
I do.
I wish that more people were undocumented.
Fine. What I care about is whether it's okay. There's a qualification for office, like one qualification for office, and
there are three.
What are they?
Natural born citizen, 35 years of age, 14 years a resident.
Okay, great. A birth certificate helps satisfy.
Where was George Washington's?
What's that?
Where was George Washington's birth certificate? Oh, that's right. They didn't have them then.
Sure. It's written
a birth certificate is not in and of itself something that you must provide to be able to run for president.
I didn't claim that. What I claimed was
if I was sounded like you claimed it.
Nope. If I was running for president, no, you're talking to the people that talked about birth certificates.
You're talking about birth certificates right now.
Okay. Then let me finish my statement.
All right. Try to make it a coherent thought.
Well, if you just hold on a second, you'll get it. I have a birth certificate that's kind of smudgy. It's got a little stamp on it. It looks very much like a certificate that was filled out. If somebody asked me and I was running for president, I would provide that birth certificate. Or if I didn't have it, I would say something like, well, it was lost in a move or a fire, and I could point to a date or something like
story.
Like that. Instead of just obfuscating what occurred and releasing having the state of Hawaii release something weird. Okay? That's why people got upset. And what we're talking about here is fanning flames. I believe that fanned flames, and it was done so intentionally. What do you think? 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. There's a divide in America, and it's not going to get solved by these two douche nozzles. Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733.
Won't get solved by you either, apparently.
On August 24th, 1992, 20 eager Cardozo law students filed into a small room to kick off the first day of Barry Scheck and Peter Newfield's Innocence Project clinic. After years as public defenders in New York City, Barry and Peter started the clinic to review cases of people in prison who could prove their innocence using DNA testing. What they thought was a few hundred cases turned out to be thousands, and a clear sign that the system needed repair. At the time, no one imagined that Barry's and Peter's vision would evolve into a national organization with the power to reform the criminal justice system 26 years later. Since that August day in 1992, there are now 565 Cardozo Law School clinic students trained, and the Innocence Project has celebrated 208 exonerations. They've also worked together to pass over 150 laws in the U.S. to help prevent wrongful convictions. You can support the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Should you be able to earn an honest living free from senseless government interference? The Institute for Justice thinks so. That's why we've spent years defending hard-working men and women from pointless government regulations. Nationwide, IJ has created opportunity by reducing government power. But there is still more work to be done. Visit our website today at ij.org. Let IJ take care of the government so you can take care of your business.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition. You may call in and talk about whatever you want. Darryl is unnecessarily arguing with King Mark when he knows he's right here on this
Yes,
issue.
I know that I'm right, and you're saying that, like, everything that Trump does is wonderful, and Obama's just absolutely horrible, and Obama's the reason that we have Trump, but Trump's not a symptom of something, or I'm not sure exactly what you're saying.
It's because you don't want to hear. Let me tell you about Horizon. Zencash is now Horizon. Zen's a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized, secure node architecture. What that means is it's private. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. And soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more about Horizon.global. Learn more at Horizon.global. Horizon.global. HORIZEN.global. So, is there anything more in the article that we need to discuss? I mean,
there's definitely more to.
What else did Obama say about Trump? That's what I want to know. And the bad people that voted for him.
Well, they don't have a transcript of what Obama said, but after he, made the statements, which in part he called out Donald Trump by name and said, again, quote, "It did not start with Donald Trump. He is a symptom, not the cause. He's just capitalizing on resentments that politicians have been fanning for years." Trump shot back, saying
he wasn't there or anything, right?
He wasn't there,
okay.
But politicians wind up responding to things that other politicians
I just
say.
wanted to make sure.
About an hour later, Trump said, "I watched it, but fell asleep. I found he's very good for sleeping." He also said that the former president cannot take credit for the current economic boom. If Democrats were in power, there, quote, would have been negative numbers instead of a 4.2 job growth. Obama also addressed the New York Times op-ed by an anonymous author, claiming to be part of a, quote, resistance within the administration, saying having officials undermine the presidency is not good for the country. Obama said,
What do you think? Do you think that having officials undermine the presidency is not good for the country? I kind of think that's good. I think it's good for us to have people that disagree with each other, sitting in the different branches of government.
I've not read whatever this op-ed thing was.
I read excerpts of it.
I know that there are some people saying that they think it was Joe Biden who wrote the thing because apparently he kept saying Lodestar, and Lodestar is within this op-ed, or it could just be something that somebody wrote making you think that Biden, or not Biden, Pence.
Pence, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I mean, Biden, it was a person was claiming to be a senior staffer or whatever.
Pence, but I get all the vice presidents confused. They're all middle-aged white guys that are boring and just want to be in charge of controlling everything.
Well, I'll take your word for that.
But as far as, is it good for somebody in the administration to be part of the resistance? I don't know what resistance they're part of because, again, I've not read the thing. But I would love to see the 12th Amendment repealed so that the vice president would, again, be whoever finishes second.
Yeah.
In the Electoral College, and so then you would wind up having a split executive?
Well, I don't know if the vice president doesn't really have any job in the executive. He's the president of the Senate.
He determines what bills the Senate votes on. That's a pretty important job.
Okay.
That's a pretty important job.
Then I might be convinced then. Let's go to Carl in New Jersey. Carl, you're on Free Talk Live.
Okay, thanks a lot. In the Press of Atlantic City, there was an article about Miss West Virginia. She wants to be, well, of course, like the other girls, she wants to be the new Miss America. And she was quoted as saying she only had 20 seconds to answer the question. But she said our great president, Donald John Trump, is dividing our country. And I said, what? Well, and I don't know who the judges are, but if they're a bunch of left-wing liberals, she will be the last Miss America because Atlantic City don't have the money to fund that organization anymore, and they did away with the bikinis and no runway, and to me, sex sells, automobiles or whatever, and I think it's the end of the Miss America pageant, but Miss West Virginia may win by saying Donald Trump divided our country. What do you think?
All right, so I've got some questions here. It sounds like you're pretty upset that they got rid of the bikini pageant in this contest that most people don't realize is actually a scholarship contest. Yes. The winner of Miss America gets a scholarship to go to college. And I can't think of any other scholarship program where looking good in a bikini is a requirement.
Does it matter?
Well,
why they have...
Actually, I don't care. I haven't watched it in many, many, many years.
Yeah,
okay, so why'd you mention about the bikini contest as part of the reasons you are upset that Miss West Virginia said a thing?
Because part of the people say that they shouldn't have did away with the bikinis or the runway, no runway either for the women to walk down anymore.
What do they do exactly? Play like have a talent show and then that's it?
And then they answer some questions, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and political questions. Like I think one of the other ones had to answer about that football player that warmed the bench. And she thought it was exactly. She said that it was about black police officers killing black people when
that's what he said.
That's what Colin Kaepernick said when asked, "Why are you kneeling?"
Yeah.
And I've actually got a story about this, reminding people that it was actually an Army veteran that suggested that Colin Kaepernick take a knee
rather than sitting on the bench,
rather than sitting down.
Okay.
Carl did mention bench warming, by the way.
Right.
Yeah,
and
in other words, if you're not a good player and you sit on the bench, why would somebody want to pay you millions
let me explain this, because there's a lot of people saying, oh, he's just like Al Bundy. He sucked at football, and now he's selling shoes. Colin Kaepernick, when he first got into the NFL, was putting up really good stats. People forget that. And then the San Francisco 49ers brought in a new coach that brought in a completely different offense that did not play well to Colin Kaepernick's strengths. And that's when Colin Kaepernick wound up being the backup quarterback.
What do you think he'd look like in a bikini?
Okay.
I don't care.
Well, I hope he shaves his legs.
Thanks for the call, Carl.
How do you know he doesn't?
I don't know. He just said,
Remember, Joe Namath did that pantyhose commercial, and people thought, oh, wow, he's got some really nice... At first, when they saw the... wow, this chick's got really nice legs. Oh, wait, that's Joe Namath.
I don't remember. I vaguely remember this, but I would have seen it in real life. Joe Namath was... I was alive when Joe Namath was playing.
Yes.
But I only really cared about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My world hadn't expanded very far. And honestly, you wouldn't want to come to me to talk about football much anyway. I mean, what do I know beyond the big names out there?
Do you know what a touchdown is?
I do. I know who Leroy Selman is, too. 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement, and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition.
Sunday.
Is it Sunday? Oh, God. See, this is what happened when Ian threw me into the driver's seat last night. How many times have I said Saturday tonight?
Just once.
Okay. I trust you to have caught that because God knows you catch everything.
Oh, I'll catch it when you start giving out your cell phone number as well.
You think I've done that? Okay.
You've done that a couple of times. Not recently. But it has happened.
The number is 855-450-3733. It is the live Sunday edition of Free Talk Live. And Free Talk Live is live 7 days a week, 365 days a year, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You may call in with whatever is on your mind at that time. Otherwise, we pull stuff out of our hats, as it were. And I find this article about sort of Obama talking about how Republicans
given speechification on Friday. And, he's definitely buying into the partisanship and division. I think he's trying to act as though he's not playing into it, but he definitely is. But it is interesting that...
He said he was going to bring America together. He said that he was going to be work across the aisle. But what that means when politicians said it, certainly when Obama said it, was, I'm not going to compromise and you guys are going to come over and do things my way because I'm right.
Yeah, that's what it means when the Republicans say it as well.
Sometimes they compromise and then we're really screwed.
I'm trying to think of when they've actually compromised.
Well, they'll put together when there's a bipartisan bill that goes through where everybody gave a little and you get some and they all get something. Real ID comes to mind, where they just managed to squeak that little doozy through.
Nobody gave up anything for that. That was just a bipartisan boondoggle that the big government Republicans and the big government Democrats shoved down everybody's throats. But the small government Republicans, like yourself, Mark, you want to pretend as though the Republicans somehow compromised on that.
I believe that there were people who each of the politicians themselves compromised to some extent. I agree with you. Republicans are lying when they say they're small government.
Yes.
But Democrats are lying when they say they're pro civil rights.
Yeah, they're all lying.
Agreed. Who's not lying to you? Bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveAtPurse.com. SaveAtPurse.com is a website where you can save between 5 and 33% on things that you're going to buy anyway through Amazon. But when you use SaveAtPurse.com, which is sort of an interface with Amazon, it gives you an opportunity to save. Now, that's been happening for years with BTC, Bitcoin. But now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account and shop for items and save a whole bunch of money. When you can save on Amazon has just about everything you need for your life. When you can save on just about everything, it's the equivalent of giving a raise. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. Save at purse.com. Save atpurse.com.
Now, one interesting thing on that I discovered a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't know that I had put a pantry item in my cart.
What is a pantry item?
So, you're familiar with Amazon Prime?
Yes.
And sometimes they'll have things that are add-on items to where you can't buy that item on its own. Amazon, because they just recently bought Whole Foods, some of the stuff is in, and Amazon Pantry may have preceded buying Whole Foods. But there are certain things that they designate as Amazon Pantry.
Okay.
Well, there was an equivalent product that was like $1 more expensive that was not the pantry item.
Okay.
And because I was doing the search through the Save It Purse website, they didn't designate this is a pantry item. This is not. So I put the cheaper one in my cart. And wound up getting an email from Purse saying we had to cancel this. Pantry items not allowed. So just, make sure you're, looking closely if you're going through the Amazon site that you don't put a pantry item in your wish list before importing that.
I see. I really don't even understand what Amazon Pantry is, but I'm sure that there's some
Nor do I,
distinction
but you've got a Prime membership, so you can qualify for the pantry items. I realize you probably don't buy straight through Amazon.
Generally not. My wife does most of the online shopping. She doesn't like me to run around online buying things. She figures something bad's going to happen.
Yeah, last time you did that, you bought a boat.
Well, I did go to see it. You got to say that. But it's best when she manages household items, is what I found. And usually the things I want are there, so I don't have to think about it much.
So let's jump back into this article about Obama and Trump.
Okay.
Where, again, Obama said that talking about this anonymous op-ed author claiming to be part of the resistance within the administration, Obama said that having officials undermining the president is not good for the country. Quote, "That's not how democracy is supposed to work. They're not doing us a service by actively promoting 90% of the craziness that's coming out of the White House." The former president also went after Trump over recent controversial statements about the DOJ and Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Obama said it should not be a partisan issue to say that we do not pressure the Attorney General or the FBI to use the criminal justice system as a cudgel to punish our political opponents.
Gee, I'm sure that's never happened before.
Yeah, Trump's the first president to ever do that. I say with tongue firmly planted in cheek.
Yeah, I mean, so I kind of feel like to some extent these special prosecutors that run around are looking for anything that they can possibly find, too.
Right.
I guess the most glaring case to me, and not that it's a special prosecutor, but I think of the Martha Stewart instance, where they couldn't find the lady doing anything wrong. They just had to go after her for not saying, for lying to an FBI agent. Now, of course, they don't have a recording.
Right, because the FBI doesn't record things.
Or didn't at the time.
No, they still don't.
I'll take your word for it.
It is standard operating procedure for the FBI not to record things, because then, well,
they'd be held accountable.
My word. See this shiny badge that says FBI, and I'm sitting in the witness stand? It is my word against that criminal sitting at the defendant stand wearing the orange jumpsuit. Who, jury, are you going to believe? Me with my shiny badge or that criminal over there?
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Whereas if there's a recording, well, let's just press play and see what happens.
What I like about the Trump administration is there's so much churn, so much agitation in the water that it feels like not that much is getting done. Admittedly, there's the tariffs, and that's not great. I'm not for that. But at the same time, I like that it's
Does it feel like you're watching an episode of The Apprentice?
I never watched one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Continuing on, Obama encouraged people to vote, saying, quote, "Not as a former president, but as a fellow citizen, I'm here to deliver a message that you need to vote because our democracy depends on it." I don't necessarily agree that democracy depends on you voting, because there have been examples of elections where nobody voted and the existing government just wound up filling the vacancies.
Yeah.
So it's going to perpetuate whether you show up or not.
Or having another election or whatever it is, however they've solved
Well, the examples that I've seen, it's been things to where 3 of the 9 members of the school board are up for election.
Right.
And the 6 sitting members just wind up appointing 3 of the people that were running to the position.
Yeah. And it's always funny when people who were running don't bother going and voting for themselves.
Yeah.
Because if they've had elections where nobody's voted, imagine how many they've had where only the person who was running voted.
Yeah.
How many elections is it, for school board this or education funding that? Is the vast majority of the people who voted, or just the majority of the people who voted, teachers and school administrators and things like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the things that I hear Obama saying here don't make me feel all warm and fuzzy about the Democrats. It just sounds like he's trying to push this whole blue wave thing, which we know is just a ripoff of Roll Tide.
No.
855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE. What do you got wrong with? What's wrong with Roll Tide?
Nothing's wrong with Roll Tide, but he ain't ripping it off.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They are working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Their coin and ticker symbol remain ZEN. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global.
Let's talk tough. Let's talk comfort. Let's talk about down-home value. Made in the USA blue jeans, like you wore as a kid. Remember?
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch. Guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
For good old-fashioned comfort, get Diamond Gusset jeans. Every stitch guaranteed. And our Defender motorcycle jean comes Kevlar reinforced. See them at GUSSET.com, that's gusset.com, or call 888-848-7738. That's 888-848-7738. Diamond Gusset jeans got it, others don't.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Mark with you.
And it's Darryl.
You can call in and talk about whatever is on your mind. We're talking about this speech that Obama's giving here as part of the blue wave to bring together all of the Democrats so that they vote the Democrats in the midterm and give momentum to, I don't know, whatever the hell's supposed to fix the government as though the Democrats fixed the government the last go-around.
Now, I will make a prediction. And, Mark, I know you made some kind of joke about blue wave somehow relating to Alabama college football. Don't know how you made that connection.
Because blue wave reminds me of Roll Tide.
Okay. Well, you're just weird. But I will make a prediction that the Democrats pick up seats in the House.
That's true. I would not disagree with you. However, picking up seats does not mean they take the House.
Oh, I didn't say they would necessarily take a majority. I'm just saying they will pick up some seats. Because historically, the opposition party, and I'm using air quotes there because it's not really opposition, it's just pretend opposition.
Wow.
The opposition party winds up picking up seats during the first midterm of the opposite president's tenure.
Yes. And I'm not surprised that there's plenty of people who are upset and who are going to go to the polls and all that.
I'm going to make another prediction that at least 87% of the current members of the U.S. House of Representatives that run for re-election will get reelected.
Okay, so
of the 435 that are running, I don't know how many are running for re-election and how many are saying, I'm not running again.
Okay.
But of the ones that are running again, at least 87% get reelected. And that will be on the low end of the last 70-year average.
Okay, so I was going to ask, what is the average? Because I always heard it was like 90%.
The average is about 90, 93%.
Okay.
But the last couple of midterms, it's been a little lower. The Republican Revolution of 94.
Okay.
I think it was 85% re-election rate.
It's quite a revolution.
Yeah. Just let that sink in at home, boys and girls, that this tidal wave of Republicans taking over Congress in 1994, only 15% of sitting members of Congress that ran for re-election did not get re-elected. Some of those people that did not get re-elected were Republicans running in seats. So it wasn't, just, Republicans swept. No. Yeah, like the Republicans wound up getting a majority for the first time in a bunch of years.
I've heard the claims that the Republicans have somehow set the districts for the House, and therefore their gerrymandering has resulted in pretty much a guaranteed Republican majority in the House.
That might be true in some states, but the U.S. House of Representatives does not set any political boundaries.
Who does?
The state legislatures.
Okay.
And there's a majority of the state legislatures that are Republican-controlled, which means that they wind up, generally drawing majority Republican districts more often. But no, the U.S. Congress has nothing to do with setting the boundaries.
Okay. I certainly don't know all these the idiosyncrasies. It's just the sort of things that I've heard listening to the news.
That there are, things that people say that most of the time the people saying them don't actually know the facts of what they're saying. But luckily, I follow this stuff.
Oh, I know you do. I know you do. What other things did Obama say to bring us all together?
So Obama also said, over the past few decades, the politics of division and resentment and paranoia has unfortunately found a home in the Republican Party.
You're kidding me.
Adding that this is not the party that Lincoln had in mind.
Okay. The politics of division,
resentment, and paranoia.
Oh, yeah, because that is exclusive to Republicans. I mean, this whole thing about Trump is, some kind of Russian operative and all that stuff, that's not paranoia. But there's no resentment about Hillary Clinton's ignominious loss in 2016. There's no, what's the other one? Resentment,
paranoia, division, and paranoia.
Yeah, there ought to be division considering the way Clinton swiped the nomination away from Sanders. Now, I don't know whether Sanders would have won or not, and I don't know whether Clinton and her team cheated, but I can say that the deck was stacked ahead
She
of time.
definitely took advantage of the super delegates that were put in place back in the mid-1980s to make sure that the Democrats never had to worry about President Jimmy Carter just rising from nowhere again. Yeah, because remember, Jimmy Carter basically came from nowhere to get the Democratic nomination in 76 and then got elected, and the Dems are like, how do we fix this to make sure that just some no-name doesn't come in and wind up getting our thing? We'll wind up giving, certain elected Democrats delegate status regardless of whether, their states vote them to be delegates or not. And then they are unbound and can vote however they want to, and this and that, and blah, da, 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 da.
Yeah. Well, I got to say that the Democratic Party not believing in democracy, I find to be pretty funny, and probably not what Andrew Jackson imagined.
Yeah, they believe in democracy, except for when they don't.
Right. Well,
just like the Republican Party believes in a republic, whatever that means to any given person at any given time, except for when they don't.
Yeah. Let's go to the phones. Got Matthew calling in from Louisiana. Matthew, you're on Free Talk Live.
Good evening, gentlemen.
What's on your mind?
Well, issues and the lack of any discussion of them on conservative talk radio. And I think this has placed the Republicans in the position that they're in because nobody knows what's important to the electorate. I've heard some polls, immigration, a huge issue. I look at the polls, it's like, it's above all the other issues, like 18%. So what does it mean? Are people upset about children being separated from their parents at the border? Allegedly. I don't know.
suspect that happened, but all right.
Are they upset that there's any immigration at all? I don't know. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
All I know is that people say, immigration is a huge issue. How? Now, rebuilding the military. With what?
Well, the military's degraded? When did
there
that
are some
happen?
people that like to think that it has.
Oh, every time a Democrat's in office, the military's been degraded. Well, there's.
Well, I hear this, and I've often wondered. We don't seem to be building a military to fight the conflicts that we currently find ourselves in. We have yet to find a way of winning an asymmetric war. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Ford-class carrier is a marvel. But 100 missiles fired at it, not these supposed Russian super missiles that nobody's actually ever seen.
Is this the carrier killer?
Yeah, I mean,
I thought that was
100
Chinese.
missiles fired at it. Bye-bye carrier.
Yeah. It's.
I mean, are we building death traps for our sailors?
Well,
and
there was
I
a
ask
time
these questions and I don't get answers.
There was a period of time post-World War I when people were asking the same thing about the battleship. And they still sent them out in World War II, and they lost quite a few of them and they never replaced them because they're an antiquated weapons platform. And we may be in the early stages of the carrier being replaced as a weapons platform. And I'm not clear on that today. If they make one of these missiles, I'd love to see one of these missiles shown to be that goes Mach 15 as it liquefies the deck of a carrier. But until we see something like this, it's just talk. It's the Star Wars program.
Well, the Russians have a computer animation. They'll be happy to show you.
I thought this was the Chinese, by the way, that had the carrier killer, but regardless, one way or the other.
And you ask these questions, and you ask, you try to get to issues, and all the talk radio on the right wants to talk about is this stupid Mueller investigation And that may be the entire purpose of it, just simply to distract everybody and keep Republicans from focusing on real issues. I don't know.
I think that's what politics is all about. It's just, this smoke and mirrors game to get you to pay attention to something that they don't want you to pay attention to. Thanks for the call, Matthew. Appreciate it. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE.
Hello?
Congratulations.
For what?
For losing all that weight. How'd you do it so fast?
ASAP.
ASAP what? What's that mean?
Are you ready to get as skinny as possible, as soon as possible, as simple as possible, and as sexy as possible?
I'm listening.
Then get with the ASAP program. It's real and it works. No smooth talk, no slick advertising, and no exaggerated claims of success.
I've got to know more.
Welcome to ASAP, as slim as possible. Whether you have 10, 20, or 50 pounds to lose, ASAP is your weight loss answer. ASAP targets the abnormal fat reserves and makes them available to be burned as fuel and contains no caffeine or hormones. Order ASAP at wholesale prices or join the team to share the business with others. Visit GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. Lose weight and look great with ASAP, as slim as possible.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from the free coast of the Shire, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for the weekend of September 8th and 9th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.14 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,195 per ounce. Zen is trading at $17, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,445. Antiwar.com reports following Thursday's report that Russia had recently informed the U.S. of planned military operations against terrorist groups on the Syrian-Jordan border. A company of U.S. Marines conducted a live-fire exercise in the same area. Officials say it was intended to be a warning to Russia. The exercise took place near the U.S. base at Al-Tanf at the corner of Syria's border with Iraq and Jordan, though the U.S. no longer really has any allies in the area, which was the initial point of the Tanf base. The U.S. does regularly attack any pro-Syrian forces who get too close. The proximity of rebels, especially al-Qaeda-linked groups on the Jordanian border, has pretty much been ignored by the U.S. The possibility that Russian and Syrian forces might take care of those groups has infuriated the U.S. and led to threats of force. CENTCOM officials continued to talk up the idea that they will not hesitate to use necessary and proportionate force if Russian, Syrian, or other pro-Syrian groups get too close to the Al-Tanf base. In the past, U.S. forces have attacked pro-government militias for getting near the Al-Tanf base and have also attacked and killed hundreds of Russian military contracts on one occasion, an incident followed up by U.S. bragging. Though Pentagon officials are presenting this as standard operating procedure, it is anything but, particularly since Syria never authorized U.S. troops to be there in the first place. Attacks on Russian troops would be a much bigger deal and not something usually passed off as self-defense. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation hearing in the Senate this week was frequently disrupted as protesters were removed from the hearing room by police, with more than 200 people arrested. In an unusually intense episode of civil disobedience on Capitol Hill, the 4-day Senate Judiciary Committee hearing was targeted by creative resistance by liberal activist groups, according to Linda Sarsauer, a board member of Women's March. On Tuesday morning, as she was the first to be taken out of the hearing room by police officers, Sarsauer yelled, "This is a travesty of justice," adjourned the hearing. Minutes later, 3 more women were removed as they shouted, "Vote no on Kavanaugh," and "My daughter has the right to choice." Fears that Kavanaugh, if confirmed to the court by the Senate, could open the doors to scaling back abortion access were a key focus at the hearing. Sarsauer told Reuters that her group's members accounted for 209 of the 212 arrests made Tuesday through Thursday, including nearly all of the 177 arrests within the hearing room. The majority of those arrested were charged with disorderly conduct, paid a $35 fine, and were released. Sarsauer said the arrest during the hearing showed the level of dissent over Trump's nomination of Kavanaugh, a conservative judge, for a lifetime Supreme Court seat. The activists were trained in nonviolent civil disobedience and got legal support. Sarsauer said, "We are not engaging in some sort of charade. We believe this is a matter of life and death." Women's March organized the protest with the Center for Popular Democracy and We Demand Justice, a group formed to oppose Trump's judicial nominations. At the Kavanaugh sessions, the disruptions began several minutes after Republican Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley gavelled the hearing open on Tuesday. Each day, members of the public arrived by 7 a.m. to queue up for hearing tickets. Then they waited in line for 20 to 30 minutes within the hearing room. One after another, activists stood to protest Kavanaugh's positions on health care, abortion, gun rights, or the proceedings themselves, interrupting lines of questioning and irritating some Republican committee members. Kavanaugh testified this week that Roe v. Wade is Supreme Court precedent, but declined to say whether he believed the case was correctly decided. On Wednesday, Carla Bedard and 2 others dressed in the red cloaks and white bonnets worn by persecuted women in the television show The Handmaid's Tale removed their costumes to go into the hearing room. Bedard stood up and raised her hands where she had written, "We dissent." She was one of 73 arrested that day. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A new trend in offices across the country, more and more people are switching to fetal position desks so that they can curl up in a ball on the floor while they work. Aaron Vaughn has a story.
The human body isn't meant to sit at a desk for 6 or 7 hours. The natural position, especially in the workplace, is to shut down completely, return to a womb-like state, and rock back and forth to soothe yourself.
Fetal position desks, which are even popping up in offices like Google and Facebook, come in a variety of shapes and sizes. Some have adjustable heights so you can cower underneath them, while more expensive options include a warm, pulsating blanket for workers to wrap themselves in to feel calm. But many people are making their own.
I've rigged this up so I can type comfortably and my arms won't get tired. Plus, it's got speakers so I can listen to a comforting voice saying shh over and over again.
I've tried a fetal position desk myself, and I can say it's a great way to get through the f***ing day.
Thanks, Aaron. I hate my job.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
That's right, it is Free Talk Live, and you are free to call in and talk live on this live Sunday night edition here. It's Mark with you.
And Darryl.
Want to tell you about the Discord chat, which I should have had up here and looking at for some time. Haven't, but nonetheless, the Discord chat is available to you. You can use it to call in, besides using the toll-free lines at 855-450-3733. You can also use the Discord chat where, well, it's this app. If you go to discord.freetalklive.com, you put it on your phone, and you sound great when you call in. It's, the sound
use headphones.
Yeah. It's nice to have a separate mic, too, from, like, the laptop mic.
It is, but the thing that annoys me the most are when the people call in and they don't have headphones and then we hear the echo of ourselves coming through their laptop speakers.
Does happen. Headphones are good.
Headphones. Use them.
Discord.freetalklive.com. Darryl, let's go right to the phones. We've got a call in already. It's Sarah in New Mexico.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Oh, yes. How come I get to get on so fast? I'm amazed. I guess the Sunday callers are a little bit, there's less callers on Sundays.
It's almost as many radio stations. It's interesting that...
It's really weird. It's hit or miss.
Yeah, some Sundays it's just full of callers, wall to wall. Other Sundays there's far fewer, but we're on nearly as many radio stations on a Sunday night as we are on a Saturday night. Maybe it's the size of the stations or that sort of thing. I wouldn't be able to say.
Yes, I just want to mention that here in Albuquerque, we made 3,200 traffic stops and citations in the last 2 weeks, 15 days.
All right.
And
I don't know if that's a lot or a little. I mean, I don't even know what to say.
Well, it's a lot for Albuquerque. It's a sweep. It's a big sweep, and that's how we catch our the warrants up for the arrest.
Yes, that's exactly what police departments do. Is they use traffic stops as opportunities to catch people with warrants. Yeah.
And then sometimes they'll wind up sending people letters. You have been selected for a prize. Come down to this location to pick it up. And when the people go to claim their prize that they have no clue they ever entered to win a prize.
Cops arrest them.
They wind up getting told, oh, yeah, remember that warrant for this thing? Oh, you weren't aware that there was a warrant? Yeah, we gave you a warrant because of this thing, and you're coming with us now.
Yeah, so the thing is that we have, and then we also caught 44 drunk drivers. So I've always
You caught
wondered
them.
How they,
You personally were involved in the catching of the drivers?
The we is a little strange, Sarah, but go ahead. What is it about the drunk drivers that we're talking about here?
So they run them for felonies, the warrants, and also drunk drivers. They catch them. They pretty much get them for everything when they catch them running a red light. That's a big opportunity to run them for everything else, you know? So that's how they do it. And I'm just hoping that this will make our city safer. But, out of the 65,000 warrants, 5,000 felony warrants, they caught 44 so far. So, I mean, how much does it really help, do you think?
It does. I don't think it helps much at all, frankly. Most of the warrants that are out there are not for crimes with victims. It doesn't, make you safer. Well, these picking people up for warrants.
Right, and sometimes the warrant is you missed court for a parking ticket.
That can happen. In other instances, I've seen police departments actually say that they do a better job keeping the roads safer by not doing stops, that actually picking up drunk drivers from, just watching traffic and seeing who's being a bad driver at any given time. That's the best way to make the roads safer, that they don't particularly like these, the drunk checkpoints and all that sort
Sarah,
of thing.
when did you say this checkpoint thing happened?
Well, it's not a checkpoint, but we were doing a big roundup, the warrant roundup. And
did this just get in the news a couple of days ago? Because what I'm seeing is this happened back in April.
No, this is just a recent thing.
Okay.
This is we just started this up again with a big roundup.
Okay, because Albuquerque Journal has a story about it from April of this year and nothing since.
Well, it was announced. We're doing it just like in the last couple of days.
Right. Well, you would think that if it was happening in the last week, there would be an article in the paper about it, but the only thing the Albuquerque Journal has is from April, and that's the only thing that any of the other news outlets there in Albuquerque have.
Thanks for the call, Sarah. Well. Appreciate it. The number is 855-450-3733. And Sarah's right. We're light on calls. 855-450. Free as in freedom.
We're not supposed to tell people we're light on calls.
That's what they say about shows. If you hear us talking on Free Talk Live, the chances are there's not somebody sitting on the line.
Right. So let's go ahead and go behind the curtain a little bit more.
Okay.
There are some shows that come on during the middle of the day that are on a lot of radio stations. They've got big name recognition, that their shtick is, I'm going to be the one guy behind the microphone with half of my head tied behind my brain and on loan from Florida via New York on this golden microphone, blah, da, 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 da. And I'm going to sit here and talk for 3 hours. I'll give you a telephone number, but I'm not actually ever going to take a call, except for that one time that I let somebody talk for 5 seconds. I then say thank you, and then I go on talking for the rest of the show. That's not how we do this.
No.
When we say we take your calls, we take your calls. When we say about anything, Exhibit A, Sarah complaining about people in Albuquerque with warrants.
I will say that we were told last night, somebody recognized that it is brave to take calls on anything, and most talk show hosts will not do that. And because
and there are a lot of talk shows that even if they do wind up taking calls instead of tying half of their brain behind their back on loan from Florida, the phone screener guy will say, what are you going to say to the host?
Oh, yeah.
No. Not what's the topic. Tell me the exact words that you are going to say to this host when he picks up the phone. Do you know what our phone screener says? What's your name? Where are you calling from? What's your topic?
Yeah, one word.
One word. I don't need you to start telling me the things you're going to say. Just summarize that in 1 or 2 words.
Right.
Thank you. You're on hold.
Now, I've got to say, I hear you taking the pot shots at the great one there. I believe that Rush Limbaugh built this industry, and the simple fact that he doesn't do the kind of show that I want to do.
When Ian said that recently, somebody called in and gave us the history of all of the talk radio hosts before Rush Limbaugh.
Sure, there were lots of talk radio hosts before Rush Limbaugh, but who was coast to coast the way Limbaugh was coast to coast? Who was on the number of stations that Limbaugh was on, and there were football players prior to the greats that built the game, but you got to give some credit to the big ones along the way. So I like to give credit to Limbaugh where credit is due. At the same time, just because he does it a certain way doesn't mean that we have to do it that way. Another thing we don't do is you'll hear us change our minds. Talk show hosts are told you never change your opinion.
Right.
I'll give you my opinion, whatever it is, but
that's
I'll change it if I think I'm wrong.
When politicians wind up saying, hey, I have been presented with new evidence. This is now what I believe. You've got news reported, but 20 years ago you said this. Yes, and I've been presented with new information that I did not have 20 years ago. Oh, so you're a flip-flopper. No, I have new information.
Yeah, they'll use that term flip-flopper just for kicks. But believe me, I've changed my opinion.
I wore my flip-flops on the boat yesterday.
I was not born with all the information. My opinion has changed. And I think that shows a mature individual who's learning all the time.
Yes.
I would hope so, anyway. The number's 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown, but these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The Crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the Crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the Crown, not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the Crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the Crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live's live Sunday edition. If it's between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time, wherever you are, you may call in and, well, talk about whatever you want. It's Mark with you.
And it's Darryl.
I've got a story sitting here about the 11 rage-inducing facts about America's wildly out-of-control student loan debt bubble, excuse me. All these words are important, every one of them. So you could call about that or anything else that you want to talk about. Let's go to the phones first, Darryl, before we start anything, though. I've got Shannon calling in from Kentucky. Shannon, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, I just wanted to voice my opinion. I just think it's not right that foreigners can come to our country and get citizenship and be able to vote right away when I had to wait 18 years before I had any kind of rights.
So
I just want to get y'all's opinion on that.
Well, I mean, mostly people can't become citizens right off the bat, right?
Well, no, but within a year or so they do.
No.
I think it takes much longer than that.
It takes a lot longer than that. When I used to work for an airline, there was one of the guys that I worked with from Malawi. He had been in the country for a decade, spent about $15,000 on various government filings, and he still had, I think he said, about another year or year and a half of the process before he would wind up getting citizenship. So that's at least a 12-year process there. That's hardly they just come here and get citizenship.
So they don't earn rights to vote right away, so they have to wait till they get citizenship before they're allowed to vote.
That's
correct.
Presumably, I'll bet you at somewhere along the line somebody who's unqualified to vote did. I know I did. I was a convicted felon in the state of Florida, and I voted twice.
Right.
When I was illegal.
It is a federal law that one must be a U.S. citizen to vote in federal elections. In the state of New Hampshire, it is a law that one must be a U.S. citizen to vote in New Hampshire elections. I've heard that California might not have that law for municipal elections. I don't know. I've not read all of the laws and statutes in California to find out if that's actually true. But as far as voting for president, Congress, things of that sort, if somebody is not a citizen and they are voting, they are committing election fraud.
There you go. Maybe we should go back to owning a piece of land for allowed to vote. Nah.
I'm not entirely sure that I disagree with that, but the problem is with suffrage that they've managed to paint anybody who disagrees with it. I'm sort of the opinion that if we're going to have these electronic voting machines, it's really easy to.
Well, luckily we don't have those in New Hampshire.
They don't, but they can still give a quiz. Why not give 10 questions off the U.S. citizenship test right there when you're voting to see whether you're qualified or not? That way we're not dealing with low information voters.
There you go.
Thanks for the call,
fellas, I
Shane.
appreciate y'all's time. My battery's going dead. Y'all have a great night. We'll talk to you later and listen to y'all however long you're on.
Thank you.
Yep. Have a good one.
Thanks for the call, Shannon. And, these quizzes that have been given at voting for voting booths, SIDS traditionally has a very bad rap, but we do give an exam, and he just mentioned it, the U.S. citizenship exam, to see whether or not somebody's qualified to vote. But we only give it to people that were born outside the United States and not born as U.S. citizens.
Right, and this is one of the things where, Mark, you and I disagree. I used to have a similar position of you of, well, if you're going to register to vote, you should have to pass the citizenship test. But then that would be construed to be either one of these literacy tests, which the courts have upheld as unconstitutional. It would be considered some kind of a poll tax. It would be considered...
It's not really a poll tax, but all right. It's a literacy test.
It's definitely a literacy test.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't want people who can't read voting. If you haven't managed to master the art of reading the English language, or at least a language...
So, Riley, our friend from California who is blind, who cannot physically read...
Yes, he can. He reads Braille.
They don't make ballots in Braille.
Yes, they do. You can get a Braille ballot, surely.
You could go hire somebody to make you a Braille ballot, but they don't keep those on hand. If someone...
I didn't say they had to physically read it. I said that they had to be able to answer.
You said they had to be able to read.
Fine. I'm fine with people being able to read, and blind people can read if they can read Braille. But I'm not talking about giving a literacy exam. I'm talking about getting a citizenship exam, which is something we already do. Are you telling me that that somebody just goes and explains the citizenship exam to people who are coming into this country, or do they have to be able to read?
You do know that quiz is given in languages that are not English.
English isn't necessary.
English is not the official language of the United States of America,
Don't dodge my question. As long as they can read a language, I'm willing to say that, fine.
I don't think that literacy should be a qualification. If somebody cannot read, have somebody ask them the question. My grandfather could not read. He successfully ran a business for 50 years. Couldn't read.
I'm fine with that. And I'm fine either. Look, man. If he could answer the questions, I suppose I'm fine with it, but I still don't care if the rare, intelligent, illiterate doesn't get to vote. I'm fine with that. I could I will sleep tonight knowing that some illiterates can't vote. I mean, how are they going to vote on a ballot?
They're not going to vote anyway.
Probably not. But how are you going to vote on in an election and a ballot issue that you can't read or understand it?
All right. Excellent. I'm glad you asked that question, Mark. There are some constitutional amendments that are up for vote this year.
On which, the U.S. constitutional amendments? You don't vote on those?
State
Okay.
we live in a state to where the legislature can say that
that's correct.
We would like to amend the Constitution in this way, and then it goes before the people, and if a certain percentage. Just because you can read the words that are written down of that amendment doesn't mean that you actually comprehend and understand the amendment.
Not mean that.
So should you have to take a test to say exactly what you think, like write a 5-page essay of what this amendment is going to do, and then somebody grades that before determining whether you get to cast a ballot?
Sounds complicated.
Exactly.
All I'm saying, this is the U.S.
Your thing is also complicated.
No, it's not. The U.S. citizenship exam is multiple choice. It can be done by a machine.
And now you want people to answer that thing before every election, or you only have to take it once?
Print it on the back of the ballot, and then if they fail it, then make the ballot provisional status. That's not even new. Provisional status exists, as far as I know, in all 50 states.
Damn, wrong.
Okay, well, tell me.
New Hampshire does not have provisional ballots.
Is it the only one, or just...
There are a handful of others that don't.
Okay. Well, it's a ballot that's been filled out incorrectly. Toss it. Provisional ballots basically are tossed anyway. It's just a nice way of saying we're not counting your vote.
Actually, they're not all tossed.
They can keep them, but it's a nice way of saying we're not counting your vote, right?
No, because they actually have to give a report of this many provisional ballots were counted, this many were not. And it's not all of them that get thrown out.
But do they matter? Do they matter to the total?
A single vote almost never matters.
So you're just not going to answer the question.
It's a stupid question, and I already answered it. You just don't like my answer.
855.
My answer is you've got a stupid proposal.
855-450-3733. You haven't convinced me how you had a similar proposal and changed your mind. 855.
Because I realized it's a stupid proposal.
855.
And it's unconstitutional.
Let me give the damn number. 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
You haven't experienced yogurt until you've tried a Mossy, embodying health and flavor in a true whole milk, green-fed dairy beverage. Every sip pays homage to our old world cows and the ancient culturing methods their milk benefits from. With over 30 probiotics, a Mossy's undeniably nutritious, refined, cultured sensation bolsters your health and awakens your passion for dairy. A Mossy's so good, and you need to try it. Contact your Youngevity distributor or call 877-878-4203 or go to gcnteam.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
You can call in and talk about whatever's on your mind this live Saturday edition. It's Mark with
Sunday.
you. I'm sorry, Sunday. God.
It's Mark and Darryl.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
Today's Sunday.
Sunday.
Radio jokes.
Monster trucks in Central Plaza.
Tell me about Liberty.menu.
Well, if there were monster trucks in Central Plaza and it was an event hosted by a liberty-oriented business, then it should be on Liberty.menu. Because Liberty.menu is a tool for our community. At its core is a directory of events, businesses, digital content, and more. Listings can be rated and reviewed, and there's also a bit of a social networking aspect where you can connect and share with other users. Use of Liberty.menu is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Put your voluntarist ideas into action at Liberty.menu. Use code FTL to get a special Free Talk Live listener badge that gets added to your profile. Liberty.menu, code FTL.
So, Darryl, you were in the last segment, we were talking about my idea or an idea of administering some kind of test. I say the U.S. citizenship test because it already exists. It's 50 questions long. I would recommend an abbreviated version, but I think it should be administered every time somebody takes a vote. And that if
I think doing so would require a constitutional amendment at the federal level.
Okay, fine. I'm not even what I'm basically trying to say when I say this, because I understand it's not going to be adopted, Darryl. I'm clear that my idea is not going to be adopted.
Excellent.
But what I'm saying is that a good percentage of the voting population is completely unqualified to cast a vote. I often ask you about candidates, suggesting that I don't even have any business voting, and I am probably above average as far as being informed. So I would suggest that even people who are above average are not really qualified to vote, but that definitely there is, by definition, half of the population that is below average and may or may not vote, but because, fewer than 50%.
So if we're talking about fantastical ideas that we know aren't going to pass, and I'm glad you mentioned.
I know politicians don't listen to me. Like, I'm clear. Mostly I want them to be honest and not working in politics. So they're not going to listen to the things I say.
And I didn't, presume that they were listening to the things you say, but sometimes you support things that some politician somewhere has floated, and this is not something that I've heard floated. So I'm glad to hear that you're saying, I know this isn't going to pass. So if we're talking about fantastical ideas of things that I know aren't going to pass, let's just go ahead and talk about, the actual end goal of let's just get rid of this office called the President of the United States.
I'm not just talking about
Let's get rid of Congress. Let's get rid of the governors. Let's get rid of the state legislatures.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon either.
It has about as much chance of happening as your fantastical idea of give everybody that wants to cast a ballot the citizenship test before they wind up going into the voting booth.
What my idea does is it illustrates that at least half of the population that's voting is below average when it comes to their ability to discern the issues. And I would go so far as to say that even people who are above average may not actually be qualified to vote. So by my own estimation, I know that I voted in elections, have checked a box when I was unqualified to make that decision. And, largely, I think a lot of the population does that. And when I can illustrate to people, hey, look, you're being ruled by politicians who are elected by people who have no business voting at all. Your system is flummoxed, and it's because fundamentally it never made sense in the first place. And that's mostly what I want to say when I say that we should all, at the very least, take some kind of exam. When I see these man on the street videos, and Jimmy Kimmel's famous for them on his show.
Yes.
And I presume these things are edited to some extent, but God, they're demoralizing as they could possibly be. There was one that Jimmy Kimmel recently had where they had a map of the world. Now, I will admit...
Right, we talked about this
the Western
last
Hemisphere,
week, 2 weeks ago.
That doesn't mean everybody was listening just because you were. The Western Hemisphere was transposed with the Eastern Hemisphere, and the question was, can you name a country?
Right.
And everybody they showed, except for the 14-year-old at the very end,
right,
could not name a single country.
Right, and the reason that
including
I mentioned
the United States.
The reason I mentioned that we mentioned this recently was so that somebody didn't think that they were in some kind of time warp or deja vu or wait, is this a replay?
So when I see things like that, and I've seen many of them, name the vice president of the United States, who were the two sides, the American Civil War. I mean, really simple questions. Can you name the 3 branches of government? Is the right to own a pet in the First Amendment? I mean, really simple things, and people can't do it.
Right.
And that worries me significantly. These same people are probably voting.
Right, and if you ever watched the TV show, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
I haven't.
Where all of these people, for the most part, struggled with fifth grade test, it doesn't prove that people are stupid. It proves that people remember things that they find important, and trying to pass a fifth grade exam when I'm a 40-year-old man isn't important anymore.
Sure.
And that in school they don't teach you how to remember things, they teach you how to pass a test.
Yeah, but those people in school that are educated by those schools are the ones that are voting. And they're probably they've been told.
Oh, I wish that 99.9% of the people that voted didn't, because they don't vote the ways that I would vote.
Not just that they don't vote the way that you would vote. I'm fine with thinking knowledgeable people voting and coming up with different ideas and explaining those ideas to me, and maybe I'll adopt their ideas and maybe I won't. But and again, this is really what I'm suggesting here is really just an adaptation of something a listener called in with at one point. I'm like, yeah, that sounds reasonable to me. And it does sound somewhat reasonable that if you want to vote in a U.S. election,
find all of the reading the history of how these sorts of tests, and it wasn't the citizenship test, but the literacy test and the other sorts of things, they were used, shall we say, selectively to make sure that certain people didn't vote, and your thing would be used in the same way.
So what you're saying is that people, not me, would use some kind of test to be racist?
Yes.
I don't.
Same way with the drug law. Like, one of the things that brought me around on the drug laws and why I think the war on drugs is a failure and needs to be completely repealed, not only the racist history of them, but also that 110 years ago, you could buy heroin from the Sears and Roebuck catalog.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, 100%. And people did, and things were fine. I can see if it is administered fairly, like to everyone.
Which it won't be. You have to admit that it won't be.
Why would I have to admit that? I mean, it's either they have to take it or they don't.
History is an example that it's not going to be used fairly.
Well, there are examples of tests being used unfairly. 100%. But they were given like, I see a black person, I will give them the literacy test. I see a white person, I will not. That's not what I'm proposing here. I'm proposing that everybody who gets a ballot has to take simply the U.S. citizenship test, which is a test we already give people to see whether they can vote or not. We just don't give it to American citizens. And I think that it's reprehensible that we expect people who were born on foreign soil to be better educated than our own citizens.
Here's an idea. Let's come to a compromise. You said you want compromise. Let's come to a compromise that nobody becomes a U.S. citizen unless they pass this test. And then if you're not a U.S. citizen and you're born in the United States of America, you are not subject to the laws passed by Congress. How's that for a compromise?
Certainly better. The number is 8. I'm not happy with it, but that's the indication of a good compromise. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here, Free Talk Live.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Broadcasting to over 1,000 radio stations, GCN programming is in all of the largest markets. A GCN advertising career could be the business opportunity you've been waiting for. Companies need hardworking representatives just like you to handle their needs, while you earn residual income which can last for years. Companies are buying and they need you. Email advertise@gcnlive.com or call 877-996-4327. That's 877-996-4327.
According to a groundbreaking study on anxiety disorders published this week in the New England Journal of Medicine, researchers have discovered that feelings of anxiety can be completely resolved as long as people think about them real hard.
After studying subjects with mild to chronic anxiety disorders, we found that the best way to overcome mental stress is to isolate the root of the anxiety, analyze it from every possible angle, and then think about it nonstop until it completely disappears.
Researchers worked with numerous subjects in the middle of high-stress scenarios and said the key to overcoming anxiety is to start by focusing on a minor problem, list everything that can go wrong in the worst-case scenario, and then repeat that list in your head 200 times. After anywhere between 3 to 6 hours of perpetually torturing yourself over things outside of your control, all feelings of anxiety will completely disappear, and you can finally enjoy the remainder of your day.
This is the Onion News Network.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Maximus scavenged through a wasteland swarming with the undead.
Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
We Talk Live, the live Sunday night edition. It's Mark with you.
And Darryl.
On Free Talk Live, we have an amplifier program. That amplifier program allows you to, well, support Free Talk Live. Give us, it starts at $5 a month. And we take that $5 and use it to advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live. We don't do anything with that money except advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live. And I want to thank Jay, a silver amplifier, has been an amplifier for some time. And we only give the names, by the way, that they give. So if you don't want your last name used, we're not going to give your last name. It's right there when you sign up at amp.freetalklive.com. And Jay chose not to give his last name. I presume it's a he. We don't ask gender. It's too complicated.
Well, it is spelled J-A-Y. It's not just the letter.
Yeah. So it gets a little complicated at that point. Jay, thanks. amp.freetalklive.com. Let's go to the phones. I made Gene, the Christian anarchist, wait too long here. Gene, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hi guys, I'm calling about the Reno air races, but before I do, I'll take a stab at what you guys were just talking about. But
all right, Darryl, take a stab at Mark.
Please, Darryl, don't shout over the top of me. You know, just because you're the loudest person in the room doesn't always make you the rightest person.
I turned his mic down.
Yeah, but it's just so loud.
He is loud.
Anyway,
he's just loud.
Yep. Okay, so anyway, I don't see any problem. If you're going to have a Goonerman Goon Squad and you got to really believe in this false religion called government, I don't know why you can't just go with the way the Founding Fathers wrote it. And if you're not a property owner, you don't vote. That way you've got an interest in what the outcome is. You're not just there trying to take things from other people. You're a property owner.
All right, so let me ask this question, Gene. If I'm not a property owner, then do I get to avoid all of the taxes that wind up getting passed that I'm not able to vote on?
Well, first of all, if you went back to what the Founding Fathers had, you wouldn't be paying a tax. So your argument is moot.
Right, but you have to acknowledge
Tariffs.
that at this point, we do have taxes. And if we're going from the point that we are at to a different system that we have, the taxes that currently exist would not automatically go away.
Well, taxation is theft, and theft is not good no matter who's doing it. So if you want
so
to
my
support-
question is, if, how do we get to where only landowners get to vote from where we're at without winding up going to a taxation without representation system that would inevitably wind up existing?
They're two different things. Taxation is one thing, voting is another thing. So you can't confuse those two issues. The voting should be property owners. The taxation should be zero. Now, how you get there, I don't know. And probably we never will. But we're just talking pie in the sky stuff here. And if you want to talk about voting, it should only be property owners. But
right, I'm just asking, because I don't own a plot of land.
So you don't get to vote.
Right. So I'm just trying to figure out if I would then not be subject to the various taxes that do exist.
Wouldn't somebody
You're not
come up
subject
with
to them if you don't pay them.
Wouldn't somebody just come up with a system where they sell like those? Remember those genuine Texas ranches that they sold in the back of comic books that were 1 square inch of some kind of Texas soil or a Yukon gold mine? They had those too. But basically somebody just subdivided a piece of land and sent you some fake deed to it, and some equivalency would be created so that everybody got to vote. Oh yeah, well here's your deed, and off they go. I mean, somebody's going to figure a workaround. Washington is full of lawyers.
I suppose somebody would figure that workaround, but that still requires somebody with a little bit of initiative to actually apply for one of those 1 square inches to go vote. He can't just walk out one day and say, I'm voting.
I've got to say, Darryl, the worst story I've got is one time I was at the Liberty Forum here in Nashua, New Hampshire, at the Crown Plaza hotel, and I was in the jacuzzi between speeches and stuff. I often did emceeing work for the Free State Project before my business partner was kicked out. And I ended up in the jacuzzi with this older woman who was talking about her working at this home for the mentally disabled or whatever, and she was very proud of the fact that every time there's an election, she took the busload of these folks who can't care for themselves off to vote. And she said that she always tells them to vote Democrat. And she was proud as she could possibly be that her vote is basically worth 24 people, because she can drive a van of these folks to get them to vote. So
that's another reason the vote is a scam. But anyways, this is not why I call.
I'll never outweigh those people.
I called today because tomorrow I'm headed to Reno to go to the Reno National Championship air races, and I wanted to put in a plug for anybody who's going to be in Reno or wants to travel to Reno. It's an exciting event that you can only see in Reno one time a year. It doesn't happen anywhere else on the planet. And it's
what happens at it?
It's airplanes racing around a closed course, almost wingtip to wingtip in many cases, passing each other just like NASCAR. It's not the Red Bull races, which people always get confused. Those are time trials between cones, but this is actually multiple planes in the sky. Everything from, they have different classes. They have the biplane class, and they have the sport class and T6 class. And they even go all the way up to jets. They have what's called the unlimited class, which is the big boys. They're P-51 Mustangs and Bearcats and all these World War II aircraft. And they're going up to 500 miles an hour around a closed course 50 feet off the ground. 50 feet to 200 feet. That's the race course.
That's crazy.
What's the survival rate?
It is fantastic. Oh, it's good. It's, there's, of course, any kind of racing, you have fatalities once in a while. But it's airrace.org if you want to go there. Or if you can go to YouTube and type in Reno air races, you'll see all kinds of stuff.
What do they fly around?
They have pylons that stick up from the ground. They're basically 50-foot high telephone poles. And on top of them, they have a painted culvert, so that it's big enough for the planes to see as they fly by. And I've been going to this now for 20-something years, and I just love it. It's just fantastic. You won't see anything like it anywhere else.
So how large is this course?
Probably different size for different planes.
Right. That's exactly right. The smaller planes, like the biplanes and the Formula Ones, they go around like a 3-mile course. The fastest planes, the jets and the unlimiteds, they go around the largest course, which is about 8 miles around. So from the stands, the start-finish line is right in front of the stands, which is right along the runway. And then the back part of the course is out about 3 miles, I suppose.
How loud is it?
Very loud.
Deafening, yeah. I remember being at the 12 Hours of Sebring, which was a race in Florida, and one of those Grand Prix races, they turn both directions. And it was just a constant drone of noise. It was amazing.
So there's a couple of things I do for fun because I'm sick and tired of the government screwing me up and taking all my money and infringing on all my rights. So once in a while, like Darryl likes to watch wrestling, I like to go and watch the Reno air races. I like to watch football. And, I do those things because they're just get your mind off of the problems of the world,
Do you watch college or pro football?
I watch both. We were at the Ole Miss game this weekend where we won. Ole Miss won. Yay.
We won. We won.
Go team. Go Rebels.
Thanks for the call. So, Darryl, do you have any insight on this? You've heard what my proposal was. You heard what Gene's proposal was as far as how to make the system of voting better, more responsive, more accountable, have better results and these kind of things. Do you have any thoughts?
Hold on. So more responsive. I don't know if the voter turnout would necessarily be better if we wound up restricting the pool from which people were eligible to vote. Certainly, if you go back and look at historical charts, then the voting turnout has gone down, but there are a lot of things that have coincided with that.
Gone down? From when? I mean, voter turnout for the Obama election for registered voters was the highest in history. So George Washington was elected with 2.5% of the population.
Right. But of eligible voters.
Not eligible voters. I don't have that number.
That's what I'm talking about, is if you look historically, voter of eligible voters, it's trending downwards. But there are also things that have happened, such as restricting who you can vote for. So if we go back to where the government's not printing ballots, let's get there first, and then let's try and work out all of these other kinks.
The number's 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE or discord.freetalklive.com.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years. From My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from the free coast of the Shire, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for the weekend of September 8th and 9th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.14 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,195 per ounce. Zen is trading at $17, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,445. Antiwar.com reports following Thursday's report that Russia had recently informed the U.S. of planned military operations against terrorist groups on the Syrian-Jordan border. A company of U.S. Marines conducted a live-fire exercise in the same area. Officials say it was intended to be a warning to Russia. The exercise took place near the U.S. base at Al-Tanf at the corner of Syria's border with Iraq and Jordan, though the U.S. no longer really has any allies in the area, which was the initial point of the Tanf base. The U.S. does regularly attack any pro-Syrian forces who get too close. The proximity of rebels, especially al-Qaeda-linked groups on the Jordanian border, has pretty much been ignored by the U.S. The possibility that Russian and Syrian forces might take care of those groups has infuriated the U.S. and led to threats of force. CENTCOM officials continued to talk up the idea that they will not hesitate to use necessary and proportionate force if Russian, Syrian, or other pro-Syrian groups get too close to the Al-Tanf base. In the past, U.S. forces have attacked pro-government militias for getting near the Altomf base and have also attacked and killed hundreds of Russian military contracts on one occasion, an incident followed up by U.S. bragging. Though Pentagon officials are presenting this as standard operating procedure, it is anything but, particularly since Syria never authorized U.S. troops to be there in the first place. Attacks on Russian troops would be a much bigger deal and not something usually passed off as self-defense.
Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global.
Reuters reports Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation hearing in the Senate this week was frequently disrupted as protesters were removed from the hearing room by police, with more than 200 people arrested. In an unusually intense episode of civil disobedience on Capitol Hill, the 4-day Senate Judiciary Committee hearing was targeted by creative resistance by liberal activist groups, according to Linda Sarsauer, a board member of Women's March. On Tuesday morning, as she was the first to be taken out of the hearing room by police officers, Sarsauer yelled, "This is a travesty of justice," adjourned the hearing. Minutes later, 3 more women were removed as they shouted, "Vote no on Kavanaugh," and "My daughter has the right to choice." Fears that Kavanaugh, if confirmed to the court by the Senate, could open the doors to scaling back abortion access were a key focus at the hearing. Sarsauer told Reuters that her group's members accounted for 209 of the 212 arrests made Tuesday through Thursday, including nearly all of the 177 arrests within the hearing room. The majority of those arrested were charged with disorderly conduct, paid a $35 fine, and were released. Sarsauer said the arrest during the hearing showed the level of dissent over Trump's nomination of Kavanaugh, a conservative judge, for a lifetime Supreme Court seat. The activists were trained in nonviolent civil disobedience and got legal support. Sarsauer said, "We are not engaging in some sort of charade. We believe this is a matter of life and death." Women's March organized the protest with the Center for Popular Democracy and We Demand Justice, a group formed to oppose Trump's judicial nominations. At the Kavanaugh sessions, the disruptions began several minutes after Republican Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley gavelled the hearing open on Tuesday. Each day, members of the public arrived by 7 a.m. to queue up for hearing tickets. Then they waited in line for 20 to 30 minutes within the hearing room. One after another, activists stood to protest Kavanaugh's positions on health care, abortion, gun rights, or the proceedings themselves, interrupting lines of questioning and irritating some Republican committee members. Kavanaugh testified this week that Roe v. Wade is Supreme Court precedent, but declined to say whether he believed the case was correctly decided. On Wednesday, Carla Bedard and 2 others dressed in the red cloaks and white bonnets worn by persecuted women in the television show The Handmaid's Tale removed their costumes to go into the hearing room. Bedard stood up and raised her hands where she had written, "We dissent." She was one of 73 arrested that day.
Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com.
This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Months after identifying the elusive Higgs boson particle, scientists at CERN in Geneva, Switzerland have announced that they've completely run out of things to do with their Large Hadron Collider.
We've tried some time travel stuff, but it doesn't really work. Black holes, but we already know like a ton about those. Last week we threw a bird in there. Honestly, we thought it would take way longer to find the Higgs boson.
Director General of CERN, Rolf Dieter Hauer, told reporters that while they, quote, might be able to figure out some more about quarks or something, for the most part, his team has spent much of the past year throwing pennies into the machine and turning it on to see if the pennies come out smushed.
We might just start building a larger hadron collider. Yeah, maybe a bigger collider for smaller hadrons or something. I don't know.
CERN has announced on their website that if anyone out there has any fun ideas for experiments, you can email them to ideas@largehadroncollider.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Talk Live, the live Sunday night edition. It's Mark with you.
And Darryl.
You are free to call in and talk live here On the national airwaves, Free Talk Live's broadcast on more than 190 stations across the U.S. And, well, we have you guys to thank for it. The number is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE. Darryl, let's go right to the phones. You got Chris calling in from Texas. Chris, you're on Free Talk Live, calling in on the amplifier lines, I believe.
That's right. Hi, Mark and Darryl. This is Chris. I'm catching up on some old podcasts, and I was really impressed. You had the gentleman Riley who was visiting Keene, and I believe he puts together a synopsis of Free Talk Live on a weekly basis and does a lot of work.
Actually, it's a daily. He does a daily digest.
Daily digest. Excuse me. And to learn that he was also blind just reminded me what a sort of a lazy whiner I am. I just wondered if you could shed any light on how does he do what he does? Did you spend enough time with him to understand the technology behind all of this? It just seemed really fascinating and extremely impressive. And I just wanted to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, I would agree with you. It's amazing. Obviously, audio editing is something that a blind person can do well. One of the things about audio editing, and Darryl does more than I do.
Yes.
But
I'm very visual, and this is going to sound very weird to somebody that's never done audio editing, but I am very visual when I edit audio because I like looking at the waveforms, especially if, let's say that, because I do a daily newscast. And so if I, misspeak while reading a sentence, and then I realize, I've got to go back and reread that sentence, I want to make sure that everything sounds smooth.
Yep.
So I'll take, like a hard p or k sound, and then I can look at the waves and, all right, so here's where the p starts here, here's where it starts here, and cut, and then you're not going just on audio. But I don't think that's the type of audio editing that Riley is doing.
No, Riley does something different, but all good audio editors are basically making themselves irrelevant in the listening. So if something's edited well, you don't know that you're listening to something that's edited well.
Correct.
Good audio is something you should never be thinking about at all. You should be experiencing it.
Right.
And whether it's you or Riley, obviously both of you have great skills and do it differently. Riley's amazing because he can't see either.
Right.
I can tell you this about Riley. I do know some of the tech, but I was kind of struck. I took care of Riley a couple of times, put him in my car and that kind of thing. Well, he goes along with his cane and kind of takes your arm. So he gets around, but I just never experienced that before. So it's kind of odd. I'm taking this guy on my arm and he's, got his cane and that kind of thing. But some of the interesting stuff is he's got this phone and everything, all the text messages, everything he gets, and he's always getting these things. Just like any young person, he's always getting texts and emails and stuff. The speed at which he listens to this audio.
That
amazing.
Baffled me.
Yeah, I couldn't understand it. 5 times speed or something. He's listening to stuff.
I listen to podcasts generally between 1.5 to 2x speed, which is still kind of fast.
Yeah, that's fast.
But this, it was. Wait, what? How are those words? And then he's got this Braille typewriter app on the phone, to where if you've ever seen Braille, it's like a box.
Sure.
And he is typing and pressing where the little bumps would go if you were actually
they aren't there.
Right. So, but he knows where
they would go.
The 3 fingers are, and he's typing. Like these.
Off it goes to the races.
Whatever. These 3 fingers would make this letter, and these 2 fingers make this, and he's just typing away.
Yep. He does. So he does all the editing for the Edgington Post. If anybody who listens to Free Talk Live knows that I do some extra audio for the show, and what I'm amazed at is he works hourly. I get his monthly thing, and I'm like, man, that's all the time he spent doing this? He's fast. And his computer does the same thing. It spits out these words at 5 times speed. I'm just amazed. I couldn't speak to anything about how he goes about doing stuff.
Yeah.
I tried to talk to him a little bit about audio editing, but he's communicating in a way that isn't for me.
And there was an app that he mentioned, and I'm probably not going to give the actual correct app name, but it was something like Be My Eyes. To where he could point the camera on his phone at something, and somebody that's looking at the app at the exact moment, or I guess, fairly quickly.
One of the helpers that uses the app
would then say, oh, that is this thing.
Right. So you stub your toe on an anvil and like, what the hell is this thing?
What did I bump into? And then you take a picture of it, and then somebody tells you what the thing is.
Yep. And I'm just happy to be giving a guy who's blind a little bit of work in a field that he's excited about. But what's the name of his podcast? Anarcho Agenda?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to go check out Riley at Anarcho Agenda. What is the website for that? Do you have any clue, Darryl?
I don't remember. Probably anarchoagenda.com. Just do a search for Anarcho Agenda.
Yeah. Don't worry. There's search engines out there.
Well, Riley, I'm sure you'll hear this. Thank you for doing what you're doing. It's incredibly impressive. And tomorrow, when I think I'm having a tough day at work, I'll just stop and remember all that you're accomplishing and promptly shut up.
And Chris, keep in mind that if you do pull down the digest off of the podcast feed, there are Bitcoin and some other cryptocurrency addresses if you would like to throw him a few bucks.
Yep, that's what
great idea. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for the call.
Yeah, it's inspiring what people are able to overcome, and exciting to be involved at all. Let's go to the 11 rage-inducing facts about the student. Hold on just a second. The wildly out of control student loan debt bubble here, according to the economic collapse blog.com. Now, there are a few sites where I'm careful about what I get from them, and I like to check a bit harder. I'm not saying that they give you bad information. I'm saying that they have a skewed point of view.
They present it in such a way.
Now, the Economic Collapse blog, I will use as a source because they don't say things that are wrong, but they clearly state in their web address what their point of view is. Their point of view is they're bearish, right? The whole economy is falling apart.
It's all going to fall apart in 6 months. Go get beans and rice and blah, blah, blah. Get ready for the collapse. It's coming in 6 months. And I've been hearing this for close to 20 years.
Well, I don't know how long the site's been up, but it's been more than 6 months, I can assure you.
Right. But, and it's not just from, one single source, but, for a really long time, I've been hearing everything's collapsing, 6 months, blah, blah, blah. But, at some point, it's the boy that cried wolf. I'm going to stop paying attention to you.
Well, they will be right. The economy will collapse.
But not in 6 months.
I don't frankly
For the
know.
last 20 years, it's been 6 months.
The Wall Street is at the longest bull run in history right now. And Wall Street tends to take the economy with it. Not every time, but it tends to. And so you may very well see within the next 6 months some kind of, recession or whatever it turns into. Now, what a
recession
collapse when it
is
comes
hardly the entire economy is, gone to S. You can't use dollars to buy anything. All the stores are shut down because, we basically turned into Venezuela.
You know what the difference between a recession and a depression is? In a depression, you lose your job. But I do think they have some important points here when it comes to the student loan bubble thing. Now, I don't know what a collapse in that area is going to look like. I don't know if that means lower prices, higher prices, colleges going out of business. I don't have any idea. But I know that many of these facts are important and worth considering.
I don't think the politicians would let their colleges go out of business.
Their particular colleges? Their alma maters?
No, I mean the oones that are run by the state governments.
So
they
taxes
will not allow those to go out of business.
So taxes will go up. Could be. 855-450-3733.
Or just raise tuition.
They can't! That's already the problem. 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
But it's a user fee. Why do you hate user fees, Mark?
She's such a beautiful little puppy. I mean, we walk around the block and neighbors always say, her hair is so beautiful.
Healthy and shiny and glossy. DINOVITE.com.
Fatty acids, omega-3s, and omega-6s are great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
I would really recommend people start
starting their puppies on Dynavite before they get into what I would call the misery index. Bad skin, bad ears, bad breath.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the allergies, grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it, and the itching and shedding down the road.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
Dynavite for life.
This is Ed Lukasevic
and Cindy Lukasevic,
inviting you and your pets to Dynavite.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, the live Sunday edition with Mark
and Darryl.
You can call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. The number is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. And I want to tell you about CryptoTip.org. CryptoTip.org is a project mainly put together by my co-host Ian. He's certainly, there's, standing on the shoulders of giants and all that stuff, but I think that it's a great bit of activism. I support it 100%, and you don't hear me say I support Ian 100% all the time, but I really do support this. It's a great outreach tool. It's what these are is business card size printable cryptocurrency tips. So if you want to spread the ideas of cryptocurrency, this is a great way to do it. Now, I recommend leaving a regular tip, but leave this on top of it. give an extra tip in cryptocurrency so that people get it in their hands. They got to have it to spend it. This is the way that Bitcoin was spread far and wide by Roger Ver and so many people out there, and it's getting in people's hands. You get email notifications when the tips are redeemed. You choose the amount of the tips and the number to print, how long they're good for, because the trip that when they expire, unredeemed tips expire, it returns to you. There's no additional fee or donate, but you can donate to the site's development. Now with Dash and Bitcoin Cash, CryptoTip.org. Going back here from the Economic Collapse blog, the 11 maddening reasons, rage-inducing facts about America's wildly out of control student loan debt bubble. Number 1, the student loan debt bubble has now grown to $1.4 trillion. When we're talking about trillions of dollars, I mean, it's unbelievable. This is some large percentage of the GDP. And I don't know. I mean, these kids can't pay for this stuff. These young people that have these debts, they're not going to be able to pay for it. And then what's going to happen? These banks, is it going to be like the housing crisis where, bad debt, bad loans were given on houses and it's never going to get paid, and so these banks have to be bailed out again because they made bad investments?
Well, here's the difference between a mortgage, which is the loans on the houses that you were talking about, and the student loans, is the student loans are federally guaranteed.
And you can't get out of them through bankruptcy or, a short sale or anything.
I've heard that in some cases, even death doesn't wipe it away, that it then winds up going to the estate or to the heirs.
I think that's pretty much true with all debt, that, death doesn't wipe it out, that the state would, have to pay for it. You've got assets and you've got debts, and, no particular reason why you shouldn't have to pay your debts just because you died. So, yes, that's true. But more importantly is...
Well, I'm guessing there are probably some companies that would wind up, oh, you owe us, $300 on this bank card, you died. We'll forgive that and not put a further burden on your estate.
Probably, if you're talking about a small amount, but a larger amount, they'll probably go after it. The larger the amount, the more likely that they would go through the work of
right.
getting
And one of the problems that these student loan things have is the fairly high interest rates. And of course, I'm not suggesting that the interest rate should not exist on a student loan debt, because there's nothing that can be repossessed if the person doesn't wind up paying. Oh, we're going to take that diploma off of the wall.
Oh, they can repossess because they can garnish your wages. Basically, these things are all through the government.
Right, certainly they can garnish wages, but if you don't pay your mortgage, they take your house.
They can. Yeah, sure.
If you don't pay your student loan debt, then yeah, they might garnish your wages, asterisk if certain, planetary alignments are such. But a lot of people will wind up paying the minimum or close to the minimum payment, which does nothing to even touch the principal. And I've heard in some cases the minimum payment doesn't even cover the interest.
Right. I mean, these are bad loans in many cases. They're poorly put together. But
one would think that if there's going to be a minimum payment, that minimum should be set at least high enough to cover the interest and touch the principal.
Why? I mean, they're just trying to get you to sign on the dotted line.
Right. I realize the banks have no incentive to wind up, telling the student, yes, the interest payment or the minimum payment doesn't cover all of the interest. I'm just trying to think logically, if you're trying to help someone, then you set the minimum payment to where they're at least touching the principal.
I think that
again, I realize it's not, a good economic decision from the standpoint of the lender because they just keep getting more money.
You're asking young people to take out loans. In many
I'm not asking any of them to take out loans.
Well, the public who's listening to me, and I'm not speaking to you, I'm speaking to them. I realize you're in the room. Young people are being asked to take out loans that are in much higher than car loans in many cases, and they are really not qualified to make these financial decisions if their parents have been fed this line of bull for decades that the only way to really make it in the world is to have a college education. If college-educated people make this much more than people who are not college-educated and blah, 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 ultimately, at some point or another, a college education is going to cost too much. So, number one, the student loan debt bubble has grown to $1.4 trillion. In 2007, the amount of student loan debt in the U.S. was just $545 billion. So it has gone close to triple what it was in just about 10 years ago. That is unsustainable. That is a bubble waiting to happen. And I don't know what's going to happen when it pops, but it isn't going to be good. These banks are basically putting young people in shackles of slavery for the rest of their lives. The only thing they can do is leave the country in order to not pay this debt, because it's death or expatriation is the only way you're going to get out of it. You can't do bankruptcy. And but
even death doesn't get... Well, it gets you out of it, but it doesn't get the loan forgiven.
No. Well, I mean, not the loan, because the universities really don't have the problem here. They're just rolling in dough.
Right.
I hope they're putting this money away. Many of them probably are not, but they're just rolling in the easy money right now.
Right.
But it's going to go away. They cannot sustain this kind of increase in tuition costs, this kind of debt that's being taken on.
Now, I guess one way to actually wind up, not burdening someone else with your student loan debt is you wind up not having a state-recognized marriage, and you don't have any heirs that the state is aware of, and then they can't wind up, putting your debt burden on someone else after you die. It just gets forgiven.
It basically, no, that's not an out. You can't even work, 855-450-3733. Any thoughts on student debt? I'm glad to hear them. 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
When you use public Wi-Fi, hackers and identity thieves can see anything you do online. Embarrassing photos, your web history, even your passwords. That's why I use private internet access to encrypt my internet connection for less than 10 cents a day. Sign up now at privateinternetaccess.com, and in just a few minutes, you'll be browsing anonymously and only sharing what you want to share. privateinternetaccess.com. It's time to protect your online privacy.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
Besides, we just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. It's the live Sunday edition. It's Mark with you.
And Darryl.
The number is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE. Talking about a very serious topic here. Student loan debt bubble. I don't know what else to call it. It's going to be blowing up here in the relatively near future. I don't know what it's going to look like when it does, and I hope the best for everyone. But don't say that you weren't warned, because we've been warning you here on Free Talk Live for a long time. I've also been telling you for a long time to use MyPillow. MyPillow is the brand name, and there's a couple of things that I really like about MyPillow. I think that one, what's important is it'll hold your head and neck in the proper position so that you're getting a good night's rest. You're not going to experience neck pain, at least not from having your head in the wrong position. This can help with headaches and that sort of thing, and that's important. You can find that from a lot of pillows. By the way, if you're using a down pillow, throw that thing away and immediately get a MyPillow. That's my first and primary recommendation. But you can find other pillows. I had one that was a latex pillow that would hold my head and neck in the right position. But it couldn't be washed. So these pillows, over time, they're getting dust mites in them and sweat and whatever else is going on. You can't wash them. I just had mine washed 2 or 3 days ago. It's great. It's so nice. Nice, fluffy, clean, delightful pillow. And I have that experience every night, and I think you should too. With a 60-day money-back guarantee, you've got nothing to lose. Go to MyPillow.com and get 2 MyPillow premium pillows for one low price and get free shipping on all orders when you use promo code FTL. Remember, if you don't like MyPillow, you have 60 days to return it for your purchase price. That's MyPillow.com, promo code FTL. And I'm happy to recommend it because I think it's a great product. We do get a little bit if you use promo code FTL, but we don't get any money for reading it. And I wouldn't read an article I wouldn't read an ad that I didn't believe. Going on with the 11 rage-inducing facts about America's wildly out-of-control student loan debt bubble. Number 4, Americans now owe more on their student loans than they do on their credit cards. If that doesn't surprise you.
With the figure that you gave in number 1 of student loan debt of $1.4 trillion, And the figure that I saw like 2 weeks ago was 1.25, but like that's close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me that it's more than credit
Once you
card.
know that fact, but
my
each one of
guess
these
is that it's probably, and I think I also saw that it's second only to home loans.
Well, home loans, there's something backing them up, but yes.
Right,
correct.
but as far as specific types of debt,
sure.
Home loan number 1, student loan number 2, I believe.
I guess my thought on home loans is you got to live somewhere, and you're going to pay for living somewhere. You don't have to go into student debt for most careers.
Right, but there are a lot of people that live in apartments that don't have a mortgage.
Yeah, it's true. But they're paying something to live somewhere. And
right, they're paying something to live somewhere, but your monthly rent doesn't get calculated into the home loan number.
That's true. I guess, okay, so...
You're presuming that everybody lives in a house and has to borrow money to live where they live.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you that everybody
You said
pays...
everybody has to live somewhere.
Yes, everybody has to live somewhere. That's still a fact.
Yes.
But you've got to pay something to live in that place. So I have experienced situations where I have paid less to live in a home that I had a mortgage on, and I could leave any time by selling it than I did by simply having an apartment. Apartments can be expensive, especially if you're in those big apartment complexes with lots of options.
But some people, because maybe they think, I'm only going to be here for 3 years.
Yep.
It doesn't make financial sense to buy a house and then try to sell it that soon.
It depends on the market. It depends on where you are. So you've got to live somewhere, and a lease is often more binding than a mortgage because you can choose to sell your house anytime. And it depends on the market. There were times... And I'm not saying right now because I'm not sitting in front of every person looking at every situation. It usually takes 10 years, they say, to make a mortgage make sense.
Right. I've heard 10, 15.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
And again, a lot of it depends on area, circumstance, et cetera, et cetera. And just because the market is good today doesn't mean it's going to be that way in 5 or 10 years when you think you're going to sell it.
A lot of people feel like they have to have homes because they have kids or a big dog. By the way, big dogs have got to be the most costly thing that you can have because suddenly apartments are out and you got to rent a home.
Right.
And many renters have decided, oh, well, big dogs aren't that great because sometimes they'll chew a hole in the wall or, pee on the floor or whatever it is that they do.
Small dogs make noise.
Well, big dogs make noise too. More. Get bigger vocal cords.
So let's continue with this thing that you found to be surprising, that student loan debt is...
$1.4 trillion.
Right, but the second point, I forget the exact wording.
Yeah, number 4 is now that Americans owe more on student loans than they do on their credit cards.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, well, it surprised me. In 2003, student loan debt accounted for just 3.3% of all household debt. Today, that number has grown to 10.5%. So 2003, not that long ago, 15 years ago. In 15 years, you've basically seen a tripling of today's of household debt, of student loan debt to household debt ratio. The current student loan, this is number 6, the current student loan 90-day delinquency rate is?
I've heard that it was surprisingly high. I forget what the number was.
Here it says 11.2%. So that means almost about 1 out of 9 people with a student loan debt is now 90 days out. And that's after all the finagling, all the switching up the amounts and that sort of thing to make it so that people can make their payments.
Right.
1 out of 9's not even doing that.
Right, and there are some people that don't know that they can wind up applying for whatever that restructure or whatever the thing is, and then there are some people that they know about it, but there's a lot of paperwork and they might not have all of whatever's needed.
And many people just don't want to pay anymore. I know a couple of my friends who have student loan, and they're just like, I'm not paying that. They've got other things that are on their minds that they want to pay, and they've got their education. It wasn't that valuable to them for whatever reason, and they're not paying it. It's not going to get paid. 30% of all student loans in the United States are either in deferment or forbearance. The most common reason a loan is placed into one of those categories is because the borrower cannot pay. 30%.
Yeah, that's the number that I was thinking of that was surprisingly high.
Right, so that 11.2% number doesn't really include the people who've just given up. They've been, many years without paying and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so when you add those together, which I think is what you do, then that means like 40-something% are in some kind of trouble with their student loan.
Well, I can tell you this. According to number 8, it's being projected that a whopping 40% of all student loan borrowers will default on their loans by 2023. So they'll be in full default.
Yeah.
And, I mean, can America handle 40% of college graduates, I guess, being in default? It's not the same number, but it's close.
Yeah, and that's a number that I'm really curious of. How many college graduates have college loan debt? Because you have to take into account that there are some people that they only go to a trade school, which technically is a college. There are some people that wind up getting scholarships that cover everything, so they don't have stuff. Some people are lucky enough to have mommy and daddy pay for it.
Don't forget scholarships, yeah. We're just paying off my wife's student loan debt this year. She's 50. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
Normal blood pressure, naturally. How would that make you feel?
I'm Don from New Mexico. January of 2000, I had a heart attack. Then my real health began going downhill. I had high blood pressure, diabetes, poor vision. I wasn't sleeping well. I was a mess.
Don reports dramatic improvements with Heart and Body Extract.
I started taking Heart and Body Extract. From within a few days, I started sleeping better. My blood pressure normalized. My diabetes normalized. My sleep improved.
Experience these benefits and more when your body heals itself with the assistance of Heart and Body Extract. Order at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305. That's hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305.
And folks, I did not expect this at all. By the 7th, 8th, and 9th day, I saw dramatic improvements from taking Heart and Body Extract.
Heart and Body Extract comes with a 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. Details at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305 for Heart and Body Extract.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. The live Sunday edition, final segment. Mark with you.
And Darryl.
Got a call on the line here, but I want to finish what we were talking about here. From the Economic Collapse blog, the student loan debt bubble. From 2007 to 2017, 10 short years, college tuition costs have jumped 63%. School housing has surged 51%, and the price of textbooks by 88%. There's nothing that compares to that as far as pricing out there. And the only explanation is that colleges feel like there's just a bunch of free money floating around, and they want to get it. There's nothing, like, that's how the market works. If the supply of money goes up for colleges, then costs are going to go up. And
if car loans became federally guaranteed, then the cost of new cars would skyrocket.
It would. What keeps it down now is that people, they know there's consequences for taking out the loans.
Right.
Some people are better and worse at managing their money, but there's still consequences. That's what we have a credit system for. College students, most of them, they don't even understand credit yet. Number 10. In 2001, 18.6% of all U.S. households, led by someone in the 18 to 34 age bracket, were carrying household debt. Today, that number is 44.8%. So from 18% to 44%. It's a big, big difference.
Yes.
Young people are saddled with debt, and that can't be good for your economy.
Right, and again, they're selectively choosing 18 to 34. You mentioned that your wife, who just turned 50, just paid off her student loans. I wonder if you wind up, going up an age bracket and saying 18 to 55.
Well,
what percent? And I know that they're, selectively
this is household debt, but yeah.
Households with student loan debt.
No, this is household debt, carrying household debt.
Okay. I thought it was households with student loan debt.
Right. So most households are carrying debt because of mortgages. If you remove mortgages from the picture, and I look at mortgage debt differently than I look at regular debt because you're living in it at the very least. Not
still
to say
debt.
that. What's that?
It's still debt.
It's still debt, but it's different debt. It's not like renting out. Okay, if you buy a house, you can probably sell that house for something close to what you bought it for, even the day after you bought it. If you buy a TV or a couch or tickets to the races, whatever it is that you buy, the chances are you cannot get the kind of money out of it that you put into it. There's very few things that you can. That's why a house, although it's what they call it, it's a liability, it's a depreciating asset is the best way to describe it. So you're going to live somewhere. I consider household debt to be different. Number 11, each year more than 1 million Americans default on their student loans. So the warning's been issued, America. Because we've talked about it many times here. We're going to continue to talk about it. And I think we'll talk about it after it occurs, too. There's a coming economic bubble, and it's going to surround this student loan debt.
Right, and the question is, when's it going to collapse? And I know that there are people saying, like the entire economy is going to collapse in 6 months. I've been hearing it way too long to take anybody seriously when they say that. So, what do you do?
The reality
do you
is,
live perpetually in fear?
No. The reality is, well, you need to be prepared for debt. So what does an economic collapse do to somebody who's not in debt? Well, it can stifle business. So Free Talk Live definitely saw lower ad revenue during the economic downturn. Right. Definitely saw that. There's nothing I could have done to prepare for that other than save money. And
save 1,000 pounds of rice and beans and stock up on canned foods. I was at my running club last week, or not this past week, 2 weeks ago, because I had a board meeting this past week. But this guy was telling me that his daughter, who's in college now, had come home for something and wanted some soup. And he was like, well, we've got some over in the cupboard. She opens it up and she's like, this soup looks kind of weird. It expired in the year 2000. He had it because he was prepared for Y2K and he never checked expiration dates of any of the canned foods. He said he moved like half a dozen times and kept packing up all of these crates and boxes of canned foods and just carried them with him and didn't pay attention that they had been expired for like 17, 18 years.
Canned food doesn't keep as well as dehydrated foods and things like that.
Right. But there are people, probably like this guy, that have a bunch of... You're going to have to mute the...
What is that?
It's something on the computer. Just hit the button to mute the computer audio. That sounded like somebody calling on Telegram. But, there are probably people that do have some canned food stored up because the economy is going to collapse in 6 months and they've been hearing it for 20 years.
I'm sure that they've got some canned food. Canned food is, again, not the greatest thing to store. If you're going to get it, you need to cycle it. It's a good idea to have some extra canned food in the house, but you eat the oldest stuff first and, keep the 6 cans or whatever.
And he said the lesson that he learned was he didn't need enough soup.
Yeah, well, I think he's probably right on that. Let's go to the phones here. We've got David calling in from New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yes, Albuquerque, New Mexico. I've been talking about that student loan thing since 1982. I identified it as a racket. But first of all, thanks for playing the Onion segment about my cousin's invention again. The Large Hadron Collider. He won the Nobel Prize for inventing the collider.
We don't pick which onions run. There's just a rotator, and all of them are in there.
And that's only for people who are listening to LRN.FM as the Liberty Radio
the
Network.
people on the broadcast radio or somebody listening to the podcast later, they have no clue what you're talking about as far as
they do know
onion.
that his cousin helped invent the Large Hadron Collider.
Yes.
Did not help. Invented it. The
whole
single
thing?
guy all by himself. Ernest Orlando Lawrence, Nobel Prize winner, physics 1939, just like Einstein, Nobel Prize winner 1921.
I'm about the same age as most
ironically,
of my, I'm about the same age as most of my cousins. Must be some kind of like once removed or something, right?
Well, a cousin is a cousin is a cousin. I for the sake of your radio time, I didn't go into defining exactly the cousin relationship, but he is a cousin.
Gotcha. What's on your mind?
Anyway, but yeah, and ironically, I lived right on top of that thing in Geneva, Switzerland. But yeah, 1982, as a student at the University of Minnesota. Oh, also, I'll tell you another time when you can listen to it for yourself. But Gay J pwned a local radio talk show host during a political interview yesterday, and it was very, very amusing.
Alex Jones?
Gay J, Gary Johnson.
Okay, Gary Johnson.
I've never heard him called Gay J. I had no clue who you were talking about.
Yes, I did not either.
That's because I made it up. I like it.
Okay.
And it
So
fits
how
in.
did he
Anyway,
pwn a local talk show host?
Oh, he did. You did well. Words can't do justice to it. So you just got to listen to it. He just shut this radio guy's a real douche, an arrogant douche. And Johnson latched onto the arrogant douchehood and just shut him down. And the dude was speechless. He's normally, nonstop Mr. Everything, and he was speechless. It was funny.
A talk show host that's an arrogant douche. I can't believe that.
I can't believe it's not butter.
No, there aren't any. I'm making it up. But everybody will be able to listen to it from this. This dude will post it in like a week, and I'll tell you, and you can listen to it. It was hilarious. But yeah, I think the government is using not only the college institutions, but the financing of college to pwn the citizens of the country. They're using it as a source of funding, and they're using it as a source of leverage. If you want this good job, you need to buy our good education at our good institution, where we reward our cronies with overpaid jobs as professors and administrators and such like that. And you sign on the line here, and you pay us X percent interest on this money for the rest of your life.
Well, that's
and
pretty accurate.
It'll support our little racketeering endeavor.
I will
and that's
say
just
this,
one
though,
small.
It's not all. At this point, I think there's more good jobs that don't require a college education than there've ever been before. You can go through different channels to get that good job.
Yeah, I agree, but that doesn't mean just because there's a gangster out there and he has a racket doesn't mean his racket is perfectly all-encompassing. There are ways to stay out of the gangster's racket.
Thanks for the call, David. Appreciate it. Yeah. Well, that's another wrap, Darryl. It's freetalklive.com. You can check us out there, and we're on Twitter and Mastodon and
Facebook.
Facebook still is as angry as it makes Ian. Upsets him.
And Telegram now. Telegram.freetalklive.com.
Is that so? I'm not even on there. Free Talk
Yeah,
Live.
you are.
You can't win if you don't enter, and you actually can improve your chances of winning a prize drawing if you wrinkle up your entry blank. I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com, and I speak from experience. Why this works: if they'll be spinning the drum before drawing, your entry blank will move around more than, and not adhere to, other perfectly flat entry blanks. And if they don't spin the drum and merely reach into a box full of other perfectly flat entry blanks, many of which are sticking together, yours will feel different to the person reaching in. When you win, act surprised. And if you're looking for work, this is a metaphor. For more tips on sticking out in a world where just too much blends into the blah, 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 hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.